Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cabinet Conversations by Kitchen 365, where we dive into what's driving success in the kitchen and bath industry today. I'm your host, Haydn Ellis, and today I'm joined by Alexis Crowe, a kitchen design coordinator here at Kitchen 365. Alexis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So today, Alexis, I wanted to kind of talk about how kitchen design is transforming the sales process for dealers. And before we get into that, I kind of wanted you to share a little bit about yourself, your background, just so that the people know, who's talking to them.
Of course. So I have a background in interior design. I've helped many people redesign their kitchen and their bathrooms. I have 5 years of experience. This is my passion. I love doing kitchen and baths. So I can say I know a little.
You know a thing or two. Yeah, you know a thing or
Yeah.
two. You've been around the block. So with that in mind, kind of in your experience, how does offering, professional design services actually help, kitchen cabinet dealers and retailers close more sales? How does that translate?
For sure. So 65% of us are visual people. We like to see what we're buying. So when a client can see their kitchen fully designed in 3D, it builds trust. It reduces back and forth and gives them the confidence to purchase the kitchen.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I guess, how does turnaround time play into that? Like, what kind of speed are we, for example, at Kitchen 365, or just kitchen designers in general, able to offer? What does that look like?
Well, fast turnaround is a game changer. We're talking 24 to 48 hours for most projects. So it keeps it keeps the momentum for the dealers and keeps the clients happy.
So, Alexis, in your experience, what kinds of customization options do clients typically ask for during the design process? And how do those options usually translate to more upsells or larger sales for dealers and retailers?
For sure. So custom options, soft close is a no-brainer. Everybody wants soft close. Pull-out shelving, hidden storage, ambient lighting, even integrated appliances. Once a client sees their space personalized in 3D, they want those upgrades because it's not just upgrading the kitchen anymore. Suddenly, it's making their dream kitchen.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense, right? And I guess when it comes to those customizations, the different things, that you just mentioned, organizers, whatever, for example, how do those pieces usually get brought up in the conversation? Is it like a case where you're, as a designer, bringing those things up and those options up a lot of the time, or is it, have you found that the client brings those things up a lot? And I guess if it's you bringing it up, how do you usually bring that up in conversation from a sales perspective?
Yeah, so for the most part, I'm bringing them up. A lot of clients are not really aware of these features, like integrated lighting, integrated appliances. I'm typically the one that brings this to the customer's attention. And really, it's just as simple as, hey, have you considered doing an integrated dishwasher? Or have you thought of doing drawer lighting? And customers are actually willing to get these upgrades. They just don't know about them.
Right. So a lot of the time, I guess it sounds like, you've got a general sense, a general vibe of what they're going for, and you're like, oh, this is a cool idea. Let me bring it up, pitch it. Let's go from there.
Yeah, because these upgrades can be put on any style of kitchen. If you are going to have a French cottage core kitchen, you can have integrated appliances. Like, all of these upgrades look good on every kitchen. So it's hard for customers to say no.
So how does the design process usually integrate with a dealer's quoting and ordering system?
So our designs sync directly with their platform quotes, products lists, all of it. So no need to manually enter any SKUs. Those days are over. That means fewer errors and faster processing. I have worked in a showroom where we had to manually enter every single SKU, every cabinet, every panel, and it took so long. And also, I was just so nervous that I would forget something, that I was spending even more time on getting this kitchen ordered because I was so nervous that I would forget a SKU. So that doesn't exist anymore. We take care of that.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, having all that information at your fingertips, being able to have those systems communicate with each other efficiently and effectively, it sounds super helpful. But I guess on another note, what about the handoff process between sales and design teams? Like, how do we, for example, at Kitchen 365, help streamline that? Like, what should that look like?
Okay, yeah, we make the hands off seamless. Everything is documented clearly, measurements, styles, selections with colors. So the sales and design stay in sync without needing a million calls or a million emails going back and forth with each other.
So now looking a little bit at kind of how these designs can be used outside of just obviously like client fulfillment and moving that process along, I wanted to talk a little bit about how dealers and retailers can use those visuals, use those designs that we produce or that designers produce to enhance their, marketing efforts, for example, or their websites. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so dealers can use our images, our renderings for their website, either on their gallery or their landing pages. You can use them for email campaigns. It just makes the online presence look more polished and professional. It helps buyers picture what the final product looks like before it's even built. I know when I was looking for a kitchen, I was looking at all of the pictures they had to offer. And the company that I went with, they had the most pictures. So I think it's super important that we upload those renderings on your platform because, like I said, we're all visuals for the most part.
So one of the things that we hear a lot of, as kitchen designers, as providers of that service, that's super frustrating is, dealing with multiple rounds of revisions throughout the design process. So can you tell me a little bit about, how to reduce that friction and like what are the processes and tactics to avoid those sorts of roadblocks?
For sure. We took a lot of time and consideration when we designed our portal. We asked the right questions up front, and we designed with the client in mind. That way the client version is already as close to the final version, fewer surprises, fewer revisions. That way the client is a lot happier.
So getting a little bit more specific to our organization, Kitchen 365, and kind of the folks that make it all happen, what's unique about our process and how we support dealers and retailers with our design services?
So we combine speed, quality, and tech that actually works together. From amazing renderings to smooth communication tools. We're not just designing, we're solving problems and making the dealers' lives a million times easier.
What's one piece of advice you'd give dealers who aren't currently offering design services or who are underutilizing them? Um, I include that as kind of like a final closing question as part of the outro. Is that something that you're cool with answering or not so much?
Could I say something like, I don't know.
You can say whatever you want.
Could,
It can be you can use it as like a sales opportunity. Like you should go with Kitchen 365 because of XYZ. Or you could just say like a general piece of advice that, that you would give.
what about I would go with Kitchen 365. So you have a dedicated designer for designs, and then the designer in-house could focus more on sales.
Sure. I think that's right.
Okay.
You cool with that? Okay. Oh, gosh. Ugh. All right, we're almost done. Trust me, I'm just as tired of this recording as you are, I promise. All right, but we're almost done. Here we go. Well, Alexis, this has been so incredibly insightful. It's been awesome, having you join me here to sort of just dive into how design services in general really help kitchen cabinet dealers and retailers get more business and kind of grow and get more sales. But before we close out, wanted to ask you one last question. Just kind of what's one piece of advice that you'd give dealers who aren't currently offering design services or who are underutilizing them?
Go with Kitchen 365. I would say that because you can have a dedicated designer that can do all of your designs, and your designer in-house can focus more on sales and closing those sales. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Well, thanks again. Really appreciate it, Alexis. Appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. And thank you to everyone watching. For more design tips, dealer tools, please stay tuned for new episodes of Cabinet Conversations by Kitchen 365. Again, I'm Haydn Ellis, and this is Alexis Crowe, and we'll see you next time.